This is lesson 1-2, comparing and ordering whole numbers. Our central question, how can you compare numbers? And our picture here shows comparing two numbers on a number line. Remember, you don't need to copy any pictures unless I say so. There is no vocab for this lesson. Example 1, we're comparing 27,318 and 28,001. Now, we're kind of used to comparing whole numbers. It's pretty easy, especially when you read out the number. But in case you're having any trouble, you can just line the numbers up. Now, remember, they need to line up to the right. So I would start at the right and move left. Now, when I look at these numbers to compare them, we start the other way. So we start left. So we look at whatever the first place is. In this case, it's the 10,000s place. And they both have a 2. So that doesn't tell me anything. So I need to move on to the next place, which is the thousands place. I have a 7 and an 8. Since the 8 is greater than 7, obviously this is going to be my bigger number. So 28,001 is a larger number. So I know you know these symbols, greater than, less than symbols. But in case you forgot or you just need a refresher, the way I like to think about it is that the point on the symbol points to the smaller number. And the large side of the greater than or less than symbol points to the bigger number. So I'm sure you have been taught a bunch of different tricks and ways to remember that. So use whatever you can remember. Now remember, you need to copy all of this down. You really just need to copy the answer. You don't have to do all the different drawings and things that I do. Example 2, compare the numbers. So we're going to order them from least to greatest. So least means smallest and greatest means biggest. So smallest to biggest, pretty much. Now when I look at my numbers, I see 2 that are in the 3,000s and 2 in the 4,000s. Obviously, we already know the 3,000 is smaller than 4,000. So it's going to be one of these two numbers first. And I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to look at the place value first. So in the thousands place, I have 2 3s, which doesn't tell me anything. So I move on to the next place, which is the hundreds. I have a 9 and a 3. Since I'm going from least to greatest, I want the smaller number. So obviously 3 is smaller than 9. So 3,395 would be first. So I just like to cross that out to know that I'm done with it. And then, of course, like we already said, the 3,000 numbers are going to be smaller than the 4,000. So 3,964 would be next. Then I just need to compare these two numbers. So in the thousands place, I have a 4 for both of them. So then I have to look at the hundreds. I have a 1 and a 0. 0 is smaller. I'm going to go with the one that has the 0 next. So 4,000. And our last one, our greatest, is 4,160. Remember to copy down the problem and the answer. Example 3 is just like example 1. This one's a little trickier just because the numbers look very similar. So to make it easier, I will line them up. So there's my first number. And now I'm going to write my second number right below it. And I can see that many of the places as I go along are the same. I don't get something different until the tens place. I see a 1 and a 0 in the tens place. A 1, of course, is going to be bigger. So my second number is the larger number. So I put in my less than symbol. And for our last example, this time we're going greatest to least, so biggest to smallest. Now I can just read these numbers And I pretty much know which ones are bigger. So I have 1,380, 1,670, 1,483, and 1,450. I know that 1,670 is going to be the largest because it has a 6 in the hundreds place. This only has a 3, this has a 4, and this has a 4. So 6 is going to be the greatest. So I cross that one off. Now, 3 in the hundreds place already tells me that's going to be my number that is the least. So really I'm just comparing these two numbers right now. So when I have 1,483 and 1,450, I can tell that this number is greater because it has an 8 in the tens place, whereas this one only has a 5 in the tens place. So 1,483 comes next, then 1,450, and last 1,380. Here are practice problems. The first one, you're just putting in a greater than or less than symbol, and then the second one, you're putting them in order from least to greatest. Don't forget a word problem or a question if you were confused about something, and rate your understanding 1 through 4.